Welcome to the Badger Beer Report, Brewery Report for 12/16/25. This evening we have a plethora of things for you. We have a big announcement at the end of this stream. We're going to have updates from Boulder Junction. We're going to have updates from London, Wisconsin. And we unfortunately have some closings to talk about. So, to get to everything, I'm going to bring on our brewery savant, Joel Guy. How are you, Joel?
Good. How are you doing tonight, Greg?
Good. It's getting to be that winter time of year, and we're going to go a little dormant this year. But you're not going to go dormant because you have something in your glass.
Oh, yes. So this last week, finally went up and visited Vault 202, our new friends up in Appleton inside the old bank, and was similar to, I'm actually wearing my Tailwind shirt, Tailwinds from Union Grove, that I also just recently visited, the two new breweries. And both of them have blown us away. What I said about Tailwinds Vault was amazing. The space is absolutely incredible. And I know they're still working on, tweaking some things with the space, but the basement is really cool inside, having the old vault, having the special room down there with all the old safety deposit boxes. And the beer was excellent. So everyone I think knows I'm a big lager guy. That's what I normally will be having, but I actually have their hazy IPA, the Pomona Flowers, because I already drank all the lagers that I brought home from there. So that's partially on me, but I did actually, this was one of the ones I did sample already in the tap room, so I know it's good. But yeah, so our new good friends at Malt, shout out to Scott and Chris. We are very, very excited about them being part of not just the Wisconsin beer scene, but specifically the growing Appleton beer scene. Oh, this smells so good. I'm not I don't drink IPA, but when it's a good IPA, it's just a tropical, so good.
All right, Joel. I love your glass too. Show that glass. Look at that.
Shout out Pretentious Glassware. They're also a brewery now in Knoxville, Tennessee. I've got a whole bunch of these different shaped glass stuff. They're supposed to, some of them are supposed to be better for lagers, and some of them are supposed to be formed for better aromas with IPA. They're just fun. I think they can, you can talk yourself into some of the aroma stuff, I know, but really it's just they're fun. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we got a lot to cover tonight, Greg. We got a lot going on.
Yeah. Did you do that slide?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
That must have been on there from last time, but that's our YouTube. You can go make sure you're subscribed to YouTube if you're not already.
Yes. And we need you there. We only have 117.
Yep.
So
that's the low one. That's one of our low ones right now. So we got to pump up the numbers on YouTube. If you don't have YouTube, just go and make one now just for us.
Yep. And another thing we need y'all to do is support our breweries, but we'll get to that in a second, right, Joe?
Yes.
What's the number? What's going on here?
So we always, whenever there's bad news, we like to kind of get that out of the way first. And unfortunately here, which not a huge surprise, we had something similar kind of happen at the end of 24 where we had several closure announcements towards the end of the year. And this year we have 3 closures that were announced here in the last 2 weeks. And it's unfortunate, obviously you never like to see these closures. And I would say even more, unfortunately, in this case, all 3 of these breweries are ones that I never personally visited. So I don't have a whole lot of personal experiences. I know you did a quick little video about here, the Tack Brewing in Kaukauna, their closure. So 2 of the 3 breweries are still currently open and will be open for at least a couple more weeks. So Tack announced at the very beginning here of December that they would be closing for good January 1st of 26. So they will be officially the first closure of 2026 when we get there. But the rest of the month, they are, still there serving all their beer. They're doing a big last call New Year's Eve party. That starts at 6 p.m. So if you're in the area, if you've, been a fan of Tack, if you like supporting Tack, make sure that you are there for that. I know that they, talked a lot about being very appreciative of all of the support that they've had for the last 3 years that they've been open. It seems like they really poured a lot into this business. So it's always unfortunate, to see one close like this.
Amen, Joel. And while we're here, we'll get to the next one here.
Yes, and so this is the only one that this was the more abrupt closure, I would say, because they did not give really folks any runway. They announced, I believe this was on the 2nd or the 4th. I can't remember the exact date. It was either the 2nd or the 4th that they would be closing for good that Saturday, the 6th. So they ran a whole bunch of specials. They, were trying to get folks to come out for the last day. But yeah, so this is another one in the St. Croix Falls. This is not one that I have personally visited. It seemed like they had, a pretty nice looking space there. Also had, a restaurant, I believe. But yeah, I'm not sure when they opened. So I'm not sure how many years they were around, Greg. I'd have to look at my spreadsheet, but yeah, so this is one that it was a very abrupt one. I don't know exactly what was going on behind the scenes, but it's tough when they give, people like 2-3 days notice. And then they have their doors shut. But wishing the owners there and all the employees there the best as they, move forward to whatever that next chapter is.
Trap Rock Brewing was class of 2018 with
Perfect.
With Giant Jones and Appleton, or I'm sorry, McFleshman's and Venture and Working Draft. So they came out during that wonderful year. RIP. So and
our final, so yes,
the last of the three
thing, what's the saying? They always come in threes. They haven't this year, really. We've really only had a couple, but in this case, we kind of had 3 pretty rapidly within a week of each other. And on Bibulus, which is technically in Altoona, which is essentially Eau Claire. It's like the right to there, attached to Eau Claire to the east. And they announced that they would be closing. They, though, are still open until December 28th. So, however, this one does come with a bit of an asterisk because their physical presence is closing, but apparently all the beers and recipes are being absorbed by Moonridge Brewing Company. Oop, I didn't mean to hit that. So it sounds like in Cornell there, if you are, close to that area, about Moonridge. Some of the Unbabulous beards, they didn't really give a whole lot of other details in terms of, timeline, what beers exactly, are going to be over there. But I'm sure if you check in at Moonridge down the road that, you'll be able to learn a little bit more in terms of where this is going. So this one at least has a little bit of a silver lining for people that were fans of Unbabulous. It is unfortunate for the people in Altoona to lose that physical presence and that location there. But hopefully the folks that love their beer can still find it there at Moonridge.
Yes, sir.
And now we can move on to good news. And this is a doozy, Greg, as you and I know. We learned about Quiet World Brewing via Facebook. The owners there posted to a Wisconsin Homebrew Club Facebook page, and then we found their Facebook page, and they posted about it. So this is in New London, which is kind of west of the Green Bay, Appleton area there. And we were able to hop on a phone call to learn more about this because this one was something that kind of got our attention very quickly because it seemed like a pretty big project. Their announcement was essentially that they bought this property north of the town of New London. It had currently, I think, how many acres was it? We asked that question.
2.5.
No, I think it was 5. I think it was 5. Like it was multiple. It was several acres. And it has a barn on the property. And so part of the announcement was that they would be turning the barn into an event venue. The barn dates back to the 1800s, and they said apparently there's records of it being used by bootleggers during Prohibition to brew beer. And then, so that barn would become the event space, and then they would be building a separate brewery and tap room directly adjacent to the north of that building. And again, this land is just barely outside of town, so it's very close to the town. They also posted about they purchased a 17-barrel brew house, and you can see here. So you can see on the map, if you're looking at the map, the star up there to the north of New London is where this property is located. They do have a website right now. Really, all that it says is that it's opening in 2027. And we were able to talk with David Lamb, who is the owner of Quiet World. I'm going to go back here because we're going to talk a little bit about the barn. And we learned that, so he does have a brewing background. He went to UW Oshkosh, was part of the Society of Oshkosh Home Brewers, and was actually the assistant brewmaster at Fifth Ward, our friends up there in Oshkosh. So he has some experience, and that's why when we saw the 17-barrel brew house for a new brewery, we were both kind of like, oh. And then we learned that he already had that experience, so that, kind of clicked into place. And then it comes to be that he also has a background in music, Greg, and that has played a pretty big key in all of this. One, starting from the name. So he is a drummer in a band called The World is Quiet Here. And that played a big role in this whole process because so originally they were looking at getting a property in the town of New London. It was actually going to be in the old theater there in right on the main street downtown of New London. But apparently some of the noise restrictions and everything seemed prohibitive to someone that really wanted to have live music play a big role in their business. And so they ended up finding this. And the event venue is 4,000. So the barn is 4,000 square feet is what he told us. And they, from what it sounds like, I don't know about how you took it. It sounds like they are going to, like this picture looks like the barn is kind of dilapidated, but apparently the actual structure is pretty sound and well built. And they're going to be preserving it, like almost putting a shell around it. It sounded like, they're going to be keeping one of the silos. It's going to be like just a huge open event space. They just said that they have to put a frame, basically like for new siding, patching the outside. But the barn is solid, they're all hand-hewn beams. They have to put in some new flooring. And then the tap room itself is, and the brewery is going to be about 5,000 to 6,000 square feet. And that's going to be directly adjacent. And they're going to have he said the plan is to have either a breezeway or a covered walkway connecting the two. So that, the flow is obviously very important if you're going to have a big separate event area, separate from the tap room. But yeah, they're hoping to break ground in spring. He's already going to be getting to work on the barn himself. He sounds like he must be a man of many talents because he's taking on part of the barn project on his own. That's how he's getting the ball rolling. And we learned a lot of really interesting stuff. They're going to build. He wants to have 30 taps. I mean, we'll see. That is a ton of beer. And we did learn, Greg, how excited were we when we found out about his flagship?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so he has an award-winning homebrew, like a beer that has won homebrew awards. It is a saison brewed with rye, ginger, Thai basil, and lemongrass. Sounds incredible. And that is apparently going to be the flagship, but obviously with his goal being that many tap lines, he's going to run the gauntlet on styles. It sounds like he's going to have his hand in kind of everything. They are also going to do food, farm to table is kind of how he described it, looking for local ingredients, possibly even a co-op situation. I think that's going to be great up there. He said there's currently cats and chickens on the farm because I asked about getting animals on the farm. So we'll find out about that. Extensive beer garden. Oh, here in the notes, 8 acres of land is what they have, Greg. So it's a pretty big footprint. He even talked about growing some of their own ingredients eventually. But yeah, he and his wife also run a live sound company. So they're going to have this event space, I think, ready, like gangbusters right out the gate. That was a lot of information I just threw out there, Greg. But you were on the phone call too. What were kind of your overall thoughts on David and Quiet World? Because I'm I'm all here for this brand, and I think this whole kind of setup that they
Yeah.
have planned, at least.
Yeah, it sounds like a good thing. It sounds like a fun destination
Yes.
family or I, I, I'm not sure about family. I feel actually more adult kind of event
It
venue.
depends on, I think,
Um
the restaurant side of things too, a little
with
bit.
the Well, yeah, but with the the whole barn
Yeah.
and I
Mhm.
don't know, he was talking about concerts in there
Mhm.
and all kinds of different events and I don't know, big spacious area. It's just gonna be nice. It's just
Yep.
gonna be a nice fill in as far as like, what our breweries are. And we have a bunch of wonderful farm breweries already, and this is just gonna add to it. And there may be actually farming done there. I mean, he could do farming and pick that food and put it in this food at the restaurant. So there's all kinds of things that can happen here. And I love the Quiet Worlds brand.
We've talked,
The
yeah.
the
Mhm.
music is not quiet. At least the first album, y'all. It's a
Mhm.
concept album and it's death metal. Check it out. These folks also have a podcast.
Yep.
What is it called? I forget. There's a podcast. So there's a whole kinds of ways that y'all could get insight to this.
Barely a
Via
beer podcast.
Barely a Beer podcast. And
Yep.
there's the music, there's the beer podcast, there is all kinds of things going around this project. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, and like you said, we have some good farm breweries. We also have breweries that do a lot of live music, but I'm not sure we have one that has an indoor concert that would have an indoor concert space to this level anywhere. And it also, like you said, it fills in. I mean, that's kind of an area that I know we have obviously dairy are coming in Seymour, but that is kind of an area that doesn't have a whole lot of, substantial breweries at least. So that's also exciting for that
Rio.
community.
Yeah, Rio and there's something
which is
else
own, which
too
is
that's like
seasonal or not seasonal, but they're on the smaller side because it's also part of a winery. So
right.
yeah, I think this is going to be really cool to follow. Obviously, this is a longer term project. This is not a rush job. Considering the website says 2027, it sounds like if they're
Mhm.
breaking ground in spring, obviously this is a big endeavor because basically all that we've covered this year has either been, oh, they're refurbishing a building or they're doing a new build. They're doing both things. They're both preserving a very old building and also building a full 5,000 to 6,000 square foot building from scratch. So they have a lot on their plate. We have a good connection there with David. I'm very excited to follow this one. But yeah, you will be seeing Quiet World, I think, pretty often throughout all across our
Mhm.
media in 2026 as they get stuff done.
Yep. Class of 27. Here you go.
Yep.
Oh,
I'll pass you the
and
Boulder Junction baton, Greg.
well, this is we've been waiting for Boulder Junction to come in, y'all, for a little bit here. We are excited. They are brewing. They have a couple batches in a fermenter. And for those who are looking, because this is the prime time to go up north, there is beer in the fermenters. Still a little bit to do before we can start serving. Hang tight, we're almost there. That is from Tracy, the head brewer at Boulder Junction. We've been waiting for this one to come in for a while, Joel. And we're finally here. Now, will they make it in before the new year? I don't know, Joel. Let's go for a December 31st opening.
That
Let's
would be
do
that would be quite something. That's what I'm hoping for. I think a New Year's Eve.
it.
I think a New Year's Eve
Yeah.
grand opening party would be pretty freaking cool.
Well, and everything they've gone through to get to this point, we
Yeah,
just want. Actually, I want it to be, how about a yellow Christmas up in Boulder Junction where they can have beer and everybody can, I don't know, what, snowmobile around or something.
yeah, that's
Um,
what they do up there.
okay, yeah. All right, Boulder Junction soon, y'all.
They
Download
did.
the
They've been
app.
posting. They've been posting on Instagram. They had some stories today about the spent grain and everything. So they're moving along.
Yeah, and download the app if y'all want to know.
Mm-hmm.
If you are close, they have an app. Download it. That's where you're gonna know first. But and I don't know. They're our next one, y'all. So
Yep.
cheers to them, and Merry Christmas, and hopefully everything goes smooth with the last couple batches here.
Hopefully, the next time that you see us on the Badger Brewery Report, they are open.
Oh, they will be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna firmly say that.
Yeah.
But here's a revival.
Yeah, so Little Port. So this is one that we kind of covered that they were kind of closed down for a little bit as they kind of, reestablished themselves, I guess you could say. And kind of, reestablished. That's literally what it says there right on the post. So Little Port, downtown Racine. They are the only brewery in Racine right now. So I think, they were able to get the GoFundMe, they were able to get the funding that they needed to kind of get back to a point that they could reopen. And they just had a post, thanking everyone. And so if you are down there, southeastern Wisconsin, you can definitely swing back by Little Port. It's a neat little spot. It's a neat little spot and tap room there.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I
don't have much else. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been down to Little Port. I should probably next time I'm in Racine, it'd be good to pop back in there.
I'll be trying to get in there really soon.
Yeah. So this is I think you should take this one, Greg, because this is a stone's throw from your backyard.
What are we looking at here?
We're looking at Youngblood and the outdoor ice rink arena district. They got it going on in DeForest there, Greg.
Yeah. This is going to be amazing and fun and great. But yeah, new renderings came out, y'all, of what the Youngblood space is going to look like, and you can see to the left there, that's going to be where Youngblood is, and then under, they're going to have this this overhang there. They're already setting up the hockey rink there. I drove by, so there's going to be a hockey rink under there, and then there's going to be a concert venue and all kinds of other things. So like Youngblood is set up to be really nice area as far as residential. As you can see here, y'all, they're going to have the outdoor space. It's just going to be nice, man.
The hockey team is going to be there. The Madison Capitals, the minor league hockey team, is relocating to the arena that's part of this whole district. So I mean, they're going to get. It's going to be like a small version of the Deer District almost is how this is looking. I mean, that's what it feels like to me. I mean, obviously it's not the same as Pfizer, but in terms of having the breweries, the restaurants, the kind of the gathering place next to the arena, that's what it feels like to me.
Well, yeah, and I didn't see this bigger scale until this happened. But DeForest, DeForest hockey's going to play there. Wanakee hockey's going to play there. So they're just going to really have a nice hockey community on top of what they'll be able to do in the summer. And listen, I love the Youngblood locations, but downtown and north, they're just not going to compare to what is building or what they're building around in that community there. And there's just going to be there's a bunch of residential houses. Joel, one of those houses that is within walking distance of Youngblood was listed for $1 million last year.
Ooh.
So, but they also have
growing like a weed.
But they also have buildings of like regular housing for regular folks. I mean, it's you can have $1 million house at this point and be regular. You know what I mean?
Pretty much. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Though, like so there's a really nice mix of community there. It should be fun. We're hearing spring, but we have somebody in house that is a Youngblood employee now, so we're good on that information.
That's going to be discussed in the next part of the show, right?
Youngblood, I don't think we're not planning to. But
I meant the employee part.
Oh, maybe I said something I shouldn't have.
Yeah, I don't know. But
let's get along, Joe.
I'm looking forward to seeing how this entire project comes together. I think it's going to be really cool. It's going to be really cool. You're going to have boots on the ground once everything's kind of finished up.
Yeah, the thing about this is that I think we're understanding and finding out the scale while it's going up. We didn't know this scale, and they didn't really even talk about that when they first, talked. You know what I mean? They talked a little, but it wasn't like, "Hey, we got all these big things coming," and they apparently have all these big things coming. So,
hey, we just got a reaction from Chelsea on Facebook.
Yeah, well, I hope we're amusing. But anyway, Joe, what's next, buddy?
So next up is that for the podcast.
No. Yeah, well, this is an old panel, but still some really cool things here because the new Barons thing is still new. And they just got their full approval, so that's going to go
Yes,
forward.
for acronym.
But anyway, visit us on Spotify, like us on Spotify, y'all. 26 is going to be popping here. We got all kinds of things going on. We got an announcement read later for you today. So yeah, keep on our podcast, y'all. On that note.
On that note, Boulder joins on this. So this is just our keeping an eye on things before we transition here to our overall recap. Some of the big ones, obviously, Ope. They're in Appleton. We've discussed them. We talked about the Lost Apostle last show and your visit there. Sounds like some very positive news coming out of the far north up there. As you mentioned, acronym just got their full approval from Fox Point. We heard that right from the horse's mouth. Near and Far Brewing Company, I don't think we have any updates on them. Dairy Air is now saying early spring. They got some other, what was it that they got done? One of the paperwork things, but they're waiting on something else. Radix is looking like probably going to be one of the very first openings in 26. Nosy Neighbor had some tanks that they brought in. They posted about that. And so actually the day after tomorrow, looking there at the Solemn Oath logo, the day after tomorrow is the Solemn Oath event at Supermoon Beer Company from 4 to 9 p.m. If you are planning on going, I am planning on going. I will probably be there more the second half. Of that event. In the evening, once wife's done with work, kids are settled. But I am very, very excited about going down there. Obviously, I mean, I don't need an excuse to love going to Supermoon, of course, but I am very excited about going down there, meeting the Solemn Oath crew, having some of the beers there as we prepare for them to be opening up in the old 1840 space in Bayview in 2026. So that is going to be very cool. So yeah, if you're in the Milwaukee area, Thursday, 4 to 9 at Supermoon. The Solemn Oath it's a full takeover. I don't know exactly what, I don't know if it's going to be all the taps are going to be Solemn Oath. I don't know how that's going to look, but I do know that they will have folks there. They'll have beer there. And yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm excited about that one, Greg. Anything here jumping out at you otherwise that I missed?
We'll have a full update on Ope. I talked to the owner. We'll have a full update on Ope in January. We will get it. I didn't ask for an update today. We will get an update on Dew City 2 in January. Yep. And
Gravity Box, I think, is the other one. We did the Youngblood stuff. Yeah.
Hold on, buddy. Chelsea says that Youngblood is already playing hockey.
Oh.
So there's that. I thought it was
employee stuff.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up, Reggie? Reggie is bartender at Vault 202.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, and yeah, I got nothing else to say about what's going on here, Joel. What you got next, buddy?
So what we have next is we're going to be starting in on our recaps here, Greg. So this is the final map, hopefully, unless, in the next 2 weeks we get something else, which is possible. Last year we did. But this is the final map of the Wisconsin brewery closures of 2025. You can see I do have an asterisk there for Tack Brewing because they technically will not be closing their doors until January 1st. So I have them down as a technical 2026 closure. So we will keep them on the map for next year. But you can see
hold
here,
on.
Yeah.
Hold on. They're literally gonna be open an hour in 26.
Well, hey, I'm a technical man.
Though.
I know.
I love
I'm
the
a technical man.
They're fun.
But you look at it here, you see, I think the one that still pains me the most is obviously the 1840 because of everything that they have gone through. Just a real just difficult situation. Some other, I mean, there's been a couple other ones that we've really enjoyed that we've seen close. Obviously, at the early in the year, City Lights and Enlightened here in the Milwaukee area. Hop and Barrel was one that I know you and I both enjoyed. That was a bummer to see close, just as we were kind of starting to build a relationship with them. Bloomer had their locations closed, and kind of worries that, you know, Great Dane had 2 locations close. So, you know, that was obviously of note. You know, and then you saw a lot of other kind of smaller breweries, Black Rose, City Service, Cheesehead, Switchgear, you know, Whitewater. And then you see Good City on there. Obviously, Explorium bought the Good City brand and locations and kind of transformed them. They've really done a pretty cool job of making each one kind of a unique. They didn't just say, oh, this is an Explorium tap room. They've really kind of created individualized themes and experiences at each one. But yeah, anything here, you know, popping off to you, Greg, that you wanted to shout out?
No, but rumor has it that Great Dane Japan is doing amazing. I mean, I know that doesn't help us
Yeah.
any, but around the world they're embracing craft beer. Unfortunately, it doesn't feel like, I don't know. I won't. Something's going on here though.
Yeah.
But anyway, outside of that, Joel, you know, it's just we lament the loss of the community here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you saw places like Wausau lose a pair. You saw West Bend lose both breweries, Riverside and the 1840 location. So, you know, and Beloit went from 2 to 1, and you saw several of the smaller communities lose their only breweries. So that is always sad. On the flip side of the coin, we did see a healthy number of openings, and almost all of these were full brand new openings. The only Brewfinity and Hop Garden, I believe, are the only, and Hop Garden, and Brewfinity were secondary locations. All the other ones were new locations. And as you can see, a lot of the growth this year was concentrated on the southeastern and overall eastern part of the state. It'd be great for the map to space things out a bit if Boulder Junction does beat the buzzer here, to kind of give another logo up on the very top. Otherwise, they will be a great addition to the very beginning of the 2026 opening map. But Greg, between me and you, we're about to cover this. We have been to all but one of these brewery openings, and we'll be rectifying that on Thursday because I will be going to the last remaining one that we have not visited yet. But yeah, some really amazing breweries have opened up this year, Greg. I think that is kind of the key point, is that normally I feel like with new breweries, a lot of them, it takes more time. And I feel like the percentage of breweries that are new that came out of the gate brewing incredible beer was higher than I would have anticipated, to be honest. Oh, I think you're muted, Greg.
Yeah, the class of 25, they are a great unit. Overall, collectively, they are amazing. We also have the ones that have, you know, revitalized themselves, resurrected themselves, for better,
Yep.
like a better word. Mobcraft, Bull Falls, and St. Francis.
Yep.
It's just nice because those ones that we lost, or those are, especially in a place like Bull Falls, where you know, our Wausau, where Bull Falls is, you know, we have Red Eye there, but you know, there's still room for another brewery there.
Definitely.
And you know, Bull Falls came with its own community for however long it was, so it's really good to see that back. The beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Hop Garden expansion is just,
Yes.
we both were there. It's just so beautiful
Yes.
there.
And we're gonna cover that more in a second.
Just the wonderful, the high quality beer that Vault, Fond du Lac, and from what I'm hearing, Tailwinds came out with. It was just amazing. And then you have places that, like, you know, Boulder Junction and Brood Omen, who've been, you know, working so hard. We don't have Boulder Junction on it yet, so sorry on that. I feel we're gonna have that soon. But Brood Omen has come through. And there was just so much time and sweat that Kyle put through on that project. To see him make it over the line was amazing and great. And yeah, so yeah, class of 25 is classy.
Got to make a T-shirt with this logo or something, I think. And then we have our announcements for the future. So we talked about the logo. We already looked at most of these logos, at least. I think Shattered Glass is the only one that we didn't have on the more on Keep an Eye on. And actually, we might have to upgrade them back to Keep an Eye on, Greg, because we've kind of heard, there's some movement over there in Beaver Dam. So
Yeah, and I talked to the owner and got
yeah,
some updates. And actually, we didn't put Shattered in this, but
yeah, we should
we
have.
we well, we will in January. We'll talk
Mm-hmm.
about Shattered for sure in January. But they're progressing, y'all, and hopefully they're gonna come through in 2026. But we'll get more information on that. We'll get information on you on Shattered. But Shattered is I talked to the owner. I feel good about what's going on there. But we haven't had an update in a while, so we'll talk to y'all in January about Shattered for sure. And we've reached out to every brewery on here. Yeah. So yeah, we've reached out to every brewery on here. And we just say that as we're doing our due diligence to find out as much as we can about all of these all the time, y'all. That's what we do. That's what we love to do. So just so you know, if we don't talk to a brewery, it's not because we didn't try. But these people are busy. A lot of times this is their second and third job sometimes. So it's just a wild time for a brewer to be opening and doing things, especially when we know that, they're doing something else right now to pay the bills. So that means double duty. So, Joel and I don't care about the breweries responding to our goofy asses, excuse my language, but we would like that information, and we would like to sound intelligent when we talk about these breweries and actually not give out any fake news or any of that crap either. So, yeah, we've reached out to all of them, and we're just gonna keep digging until we get information. But like Joel said, a lot of these are gonna come through. Some of these are gonna come through early.
Yeah,
We got agnostic, agontic,
organic.
I'm never gonna get this one right, and that's a rebuild from a fire, y'all.
Yes.
So that's an established brewery, but we have that here, just because they're not, you know, cranking now, and they're going to be having an opening, and we want to yell and scream and holler about it too. So, um,
100%.
exciting map, and
Yeah, good
really
disbursement on
exciting
this
actually.
map. That was my other comment I was going to make is that there's a lot of good disbursement around the state. I feel like on kind of the breweries that are still coming that are going to be announcement, because obviously you see four there in kind of the greater Milwaukee area, but you really have a lot of areas that are getting some breweries. So
Mm.
that's all very exciting.
The and the top half of that, the top half of our state there going from
Yeah,
Oakland up, all those should probably come in before the summer.
pretty early. Yeah,
So, maybe not Nicolette, but everybody else, and Gravity Box for sure, because they were talking about being ready last year. We knew
yeah,
they kind of weren't, but they were like, "Yo, we're gonna do this year," so they should be ready to spring out, especially in the Wisconsin Dells in the spring.
yep.
So yeah, I'm good on this map, Joe.
So final numbers of 2025, assuming we don't have any more closures or openings, which we very well may, as I said. Overall number of 263 with 207 individual breweries, with the three that includes the three closures that we just discussed. So that is where we sit as we head into 2026.
Cool. Oh, and while we're here, I did a podcast thing with Bobby Fleshman and crew over at the McFleshmans, Respecting the Beer podcast. This was a fun podcast. I was able to get on and talk to Bobby about my road trip. Joel and I visiting all of the breweries that opened last year, except for Brewfinity, which, as Joel mentioned, he'll be there in a couple days. Uh, it was just really fun to be on this podcast. It's one of my favorite podcasts in Wisconsin. It's one of the better brewery podcasts, period. And we talked about a bunch of things, new breweries, maybe a collab that Bobby's trying to do with a local with Madison brewer. I will. y'all have to listen to find all that out. But you will find that out on. You can find that on where you find McFleshman's podcast or any of our social media. Pretty much has it right now. So that will be fun, and I think Joel might be making an appearance on that.
Yeah, I am
soon.
scheduled. I can say I am scheduled for an appearance on McFleshman's, the podcast there. I don't know what we're going to talk about yet. We're just going to chat about traveling and beer, I'm sure, and maybe we'll just talk about you because you won't be there to defend yourself. I don't know. We'll have to see where the conversation takes us, Greg.
Cool, but you do know what we're going to talk about next, though, right?
I do know what we're going to talk about next.
Okay. Oh, do I have to?
Oh no, I can get it here. So, yep, as we said, this is the last show of 2025. So we wanted to do a review of all of the openings that we have seen take place here in the past year. And as I said, we have had some amazing openings. We have had a great time visiting them. The only one of these that we have not visited yet is Brewfinity, who opened up their second location in Pewaukee. I am going there on Thursday. So if you're not already, make sure you're following on social media. I will be posting about it. I'm very excited to check out that. They have what looks to be a beautiful location right there on the lake in downtown Pewaukee. So I actually had a nice conversation with Chad, the owner, today. Looking forward to meeting with him. But so I have these kind of grouped by region. So we're going to start off in my neck of the woods here in the Milwaukee area. And we had 4 openings. We had 2 resurrections. Well, 2.5. 2.5 resurrections, as well as 1 secondary location. The 2 full resurrections, we had Mobcraft and St. Francis. St. Francis was the one that was dormant for a much longer period of time. They were dormant for a few years until new ownership came in, and they were then able to get new ownership in there. The brewer from Enlightened is now brewing there. And yeah, so I had a really good visit there, trying some of the beer. I can't remember if what was my favorite there. I don't have my notes with me. I really should have my notes for that. But Mobcraft, they just recently reopened after they had announced their closure just last year. And I was there for kind of one of their grand opening party, which included the release of the We're Back West Coast IPA, which was quite delicious. And I know, Greg, you and I are very excited about building a relationship with them as they reemerge as part of the Milwaukee craft beer scene. The half, as I said, 2.5 resurrections, is because Lombardi Brewing Company stepped in, for folks that remember, stepped into the old City Lights location. So City Lights closed at the very beginning of this year, and Lombardi opened up here earlier this year. They have been brewing out of District 1 for a while. They've been looking for locations. They finally got this. It is owned by the grandson of, or co-owned by the grandson of Vince Lombardi. And Packer fans, you need to listen right now. Obviously, there are beers that are themed around Packers and stuff, with the numbers and the names, whatnot. If you are a Packer fan, you need to go to their tap room because they have Vince Lombardi's Golden Hall of Fame induction jacket hanging in the tap room. That is it is a museum quality piece that is there for people who are drinking beer. It is, it wasn't there because I went there right when they opened. It wasn't there yet. But the second time I went back there, it was just like, oh, because they also have, they have signed photos from the Ice Bowl, Greg. The brand is built around sport lovers here in Wisconsin. And yeah, you do not, I don't think there's a brewery probably in the country that has a piece of sports memorabilia like they have in their tap room. I mean, again, Vince Lombardi's Hall of Fame golden jacket, like the jacket for the induction into the Hall of Fame. Absolutely insane. I'm excited to see what they end up all doing with distribution. I know their golden lager is one that they're really pushing, as kind of the beer to drink, you know, when you're tailgating, hanging out, watching the game. And then the other one up in Menominee Falls, Hopyard Ale Works, based up in Appleton. This is another one in Appleton that we've been impressed with. They opened up a location right in downtown Menominee Falls. Really nice spot. They brought their wood-fired pizza. which is absolutely delicious. By the way, I did have some of the pizza. They are not brewing there. Should clarify that, but it is a full tap room, and the beer was really good. One of my better beers that I had this year I really enjoyed was called How to Stain Your Flagon, and it was a stout. So you can see that there on the far left of that picture under the Hopyard Ale Works sign. That was very, very delicious. Good beer, good pizza, good location. If you're kind of on that northwest side of the Milwaukee area, definitely recommend checking out Hopyard Ale Works. Next, we have Southeast, which again are two places that I've been able to visit. We have Last Ditch, which was in Kenosha. This was the old R Noggin location. For folks that drive between Milwaukee and Chicago on the freeway, it is often, if you are going south, it is on the left-hand side. If you're going north, it's on the right-hand side. It is right there on the freeway. I'm pretty sure if you threw a rock out your window, you could hit it as you drive along there. And they really revamped it a little bit. Like the inside is small. There isn't a ton they could do. They kind of redid the upper balcony kind of area, but I can say they really did a great job expanding on the outdoor space. It was unfortunately raining pretty hard when I stopped in for a visit, but you can see there on the bottom, they really did a good job expanding on that. And I did enjoy several of the beers. In particular, I'm not necessarily the biggest IPA guy, but they had a hazy IPA that I really liked there at Last Ditch. So if you're down there, I know Kenosha's got a couple breweries, and it's nice that this one, was able to change hands in a pretty seamless manner, it seems. And the other comment I would make on Last Ditch, I did not have time to eat a meal, but the food menu looked really good there. Food menu looked really good, Greg. So if you are stopping in there, get some food. I think they had a whole bunch of different like barbecue type sandwiches and everything. It looked delicious. And then I'm wearing the shirt right now. Tailwinds, Union Grove. Got to meet up with Rick there during hours that the brewery was not open. If you were here, I think it was last time that I talked about. I think last time is when I did my talk about Tailwinds. You heard the spiel about how much I love that place, the aviation theme, the aviation memorabilia. The beer there is incredible. Rick is an awesome guy. I couldn't get enough of the beer. Like I said, that is one that I really am looking forward to returning at some point. They also have a really good focus on the food menu. Just an all-encompassing, really good brewery experience for a town that does not have one yet. But what was my favorite at Tailwinds? Oh, yes, Heathrow, like as in the airport, London Heathrow Airport. The ESB, several of their beers are named after famous airports, both military airports and regular airports. So that's obviously a fun little thing. And make sure if Rick is there and it's not too busy, ask him about all the stuff he's got around in the tap room, because he's got stories for basically all of it. Very knowledgeable guy, very passionate about aviation. He worked for United Airlines for over 4 decades, and I believe I don't know how long his father did either, but his father also did too. And they got a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool stuff. And most importantly, phenomenal beer. So Lake Winnebago area, this is where we can kind of tag team it a little bit here, because we both have been to 2 of them, and you have been to one by yourself. So why don't you take Gnarly first, Greg? Because that was one I have not been able to get up to yet, but that I really want to.
Well, Gnarly Cedar is so beautiful and serene, and I was there only. I was there only. I would say, what it was a week or 2 after they opened.
Yeah.
And it was just the attention to detail was great. The beers were solid. Um, it's right on the lake there. It is just a really nice spot. It's right downtown. It checks off all the boxes. Gnarly Cedar is just a really great destination. Y'all should check it out. Make sure you eat there too. Um, I was just highly impressed with everything there and the environment, everything.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I would, again, like, they're a Main Street brewery, so parking might be a little bit, you
Yeah.
might have to park and walk, but these are Main Street brewer problems. But everything, there is no problem when you walk in the door. It's just everything is there. It's just great. So hats off to Gnarly Cedar for
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
yeah, right there on the Fox River. And as a guy that wrote a book that is called Flights Across America that includes a ton of pictures of his favorite flight boards, that flight board with the saw is pretty freaking cool. So big fan of that. But
Yeah,
on
yeah,
kind of the other side of the Lake Winnebago area, or
yeah.
no, actually, let's hop over to the far left side of the screen first, because just down the road from that gnarly cedar location in Wrightstown is our good friends at Vault 202 in Appleton, which I just sadly finished my Pomona Flowers Hazy IPA beer from there. I
Mm.
was just up there this past Thursday.
Mhm.
Uh, it was,
What's going on at Vault
I mean,
202?
Greg, it's amazing. You know that. Scott and Chris are doing phenomenal things. It's inside of an old bank. So the upper level is very open. It's got really cool ceramic tile along one wall. It's got a bunch of different types of seating areas. The brewery is in the back, and you can view all of that. The downstairs still has the original vault, and the door is like propped open, and on the inside is like this more intimate seating space with
Mhm,
and one wall is all the original lock boxes.
mhm.
It's it might win my best. Greg, you know I do my annual review. I've been to almost 100 new breweries this year. It might win my award for best tap room. It's it's really cool, really cool space, and the beer was phenomenal. I loved a lot of the beer. The Shores beer was amazing. I just told you how much I like the hazy IPA.
Mm,
Had a really good
mm.
um, Pilsner. And then I think, was it the, let me look here. Yes, the Hellas Lager was my favorite, though. Hellas Lager was phenomenal. I had milk pours of both the Schwarz beer and the fresh hop lager. Really good stuff. But yeah, you also got there, Greg. So what were your thoughts?
Everything you said.
Yeah, yeah.
No, everything you said, man. It was just great. Actually, I can add that the wings and the
Oh
pizza are
yes.
really good.
Hmm.
So the food's good. I can also add that if y'all are soccer fans, they are a soccer bar and they are soccer friendly. So they have their own choices, but they're not going to get all weird about you being an Arsenal fan, which they probably should. But that aside, they don't care. They just want to have a good time. It's just a really for again for a place to come out as strong as them and gnarly and all these other ones. It's just wild
And
how we are so advanced.
they're literally blocks from our good friends at McFleshman and Appleton Beer Factory too. Like they are like they that is a trio that you can walk between right there on the main drag through Appleton. And not too much longer. Ope's going to be down the road too. I mean, that is really nice area there for beer.
Yeah, and before we move off of Vault, one of my favorite. We'll talk about this in the mix six, but one of my favorite stops was Vault because of the milk tubes, and I
Mm-hmm.
was introduced to the milk tubes, not the Milko pours, which everybody knows, or not a lot of people know. Not everybody, sorry. Beer geeks know. But milk tubes they were my introduction to it. I believe other McFleshens, I think Reflections was doing them before, or maybe I'm not sure. Vault started them. They were started by Human Robot in Philly in the 1990s or something like that. But Vault came out with them, and it just blew my mind. And now we're seeing. I'm not saying about Vault, but now we're seeing more milk tubes pop up in Wisconsin, and I'm here for the milk tube revolution. And if Vault is the one that started the milk tube revolution, really, shout out to them. And one last thing about Vault, because I don't, we shouldn't, be all focused on one. One of the interesting things about Vault is, they use those. What is that pour called? That to make those
The
milk
Lucre, like
tubes,
the Lucre tap, like the
the
side
Lucre
pole.
pour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now the thing about that, y'all, is that they are only manufactured in Czech Republic. So every Lucre pour or every Lucre pour that you get, they have one of those Lucre faucets that they have to get from the Czech Republic. Unless, Joel, you were at Vault, who apparently made their own. Lucre pour faucet.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say about that. But go to the next flip.
Well, I was gonna say before we hop over there, I
Wow.
mentioned a couple beers. Did you have one beer that stuck out to you at Vault?
Yeah, I had the they had the porter and the milk too.
Mm-hmm.
Next conversation. It was
So
this roasty, creamy, just sweet. There's a sweetness that these foam pours add to your beer, y'all. There's a sweetness that I can't even describe it. I think Scott and Chris could describe it from Vault, and I know Bobby could describe it from McFleshman's, but it was just a wonderful. It was the best pour of porter I probably had in my life, actually, just because it was just so delicious and unique and quick, and it's if Reggie's still here, Reggie the bartender, we did one together. That was awesome. Yeah, yeah, Valda's, yeah,
yeah, no, I
part
mean
of this
one.
the excellent class, part of the excellent class. You ready for the next slide, Joel?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, well, we have to do Fond du Lac, moving from one banger to the other on the
Oh,
other side of Lake
true. My
Winnebago.
bad.
Yeah, no,
My bad.
I wasn't gonna let you skip over Lyle
My
like that.
bad.
Don't worry.
No, I lied.
We're Lyle had some killer beers. So I visited Fond du Lac very shortly after
After
they
they open.
opened. Um, and so they only had a hand. Yeah, I think they had like 6 beers on tap, and he was working on getting more out there, and it didn't matter. They were great beers right from the get go. Um, the building is really really neat. It was an old auto dealership and meat packing plant. They still have the old massive elevator that they would use to bring cars up to the second floor. The lower level is both the open tap room, open to the brewery. The upper level is kind of more the event space. They're looking at becoming. I mean, this is a place. I mean, if I was going to get married in Appleton, that would be where I would want to do it. Um, so yeah, I mean,
You mean
the
in
beers, the
Fond du
beers.
Lac?
Oh God, yeah, yeah. The beers
Right.
were the beers were so good. My favorite, which is a shock. This is a teaser for one of my awards. If you follow me for my annual awards, I'm not normally a big vanilla guy, and the vanilla porter there was so good, so good, so good. I also love the pale ale and the amber. I know that Lyle's going to be cranking out a lot of different styles. He was doing pretty down the middle stuff when I was, because he was basically telling me, he's like, yeah, like I'm doing things to basically hone in this new system that I personally designed. He's got it. He's got it together. He's got it together. Another place that has some good looking food. But yeah, and this is, we talked about, I remember when we talked about, early on in Badger Beer, when I first joined, like we talked about kind of places that didn't have breweries at one point, and Fond du Lac was always the one that was like, why don't they have a brewery? Well, not only do they have a brewery, they have a great brewery. So this is one that we're very excited to see continue to grow and thrive, and looking forward to continue to build a relationship with Lyle. But I know you made a stop there as well, Greg.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. What Joel said, the beers are just crisp and excellent, and Lyle is, it's really no surprise once we found out who Lyle was. He's an award-winning brewer coming into this. He is an experienced brewer, just like we have Chris and Scott up at Vault. When you have that, that's just a really good synergy for you to be able to come out and push beers that are great immediately. Everything was crisp. Everything was fresh. It was just, again, I was just surprised about how really refined it felt. It felt like a 7-year old brewery walking in there drinking their beers. And it was like 7 weeks. So shout out to Lyle and the Fond du Lac crew. Y'all are doing great. The food is great. Everything is good there. It's just, I mean, it's just great. It's great for the
Yeah.
community. It's just excellent. So, another wonderful addition.
Well, and here,
Oh
and
yeah.
this is you here. I can talk about Hop Garden after you're done, but this is your neighborhood. So why don't you take these two to start off with, Greg?
Well, north of the bayou has been a brewery for a bunch of years, y'all, and people in Madison kind of know it, but there was kind of a thing where we didn't know it actually. So they rebranded and they did a big renovation, and now they're north of the Bayou Brewery. But they are also a very very wonderful restaurant that, of course, is specializes in New Orleans cuisine, and everything is really good here. They just really rebooted their brewery and just the marketing. So they're technically not a new one, y'all, but we counted them because we established that they were, and they actually again came out as a brewery almost out of they were in the closet as a restaurant or something that
Yeah, well,
made
they
beer,
were shut
and
down
now
for a
they're a
while.
brewery.
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
shut
yeah,
down
yeah.
for a while too.
They were shut down for a while to do the renovation, but they were brewing beer before that.
Yeah,
But they
mhm,
were presenting themselves as a restaurant. So
yeah.
how I like to say is that they came out as a brewery and just, so now they're a brewery. They got some good they're working on their, whole system in their beer, but they got some good their amber is good here. I like their amber. And I forget one of the IPAs is pretty good too. And they got a Schwartz beer that that the locals love, or their locals, their people love their Schwartz beer. So north of the bayou, and it's going to be great. It's you got to eat here too. North of the bayou, you got to eat. Hop Garden expanded into Belleville, to one of the most beautiful spaces that southern Wisconsin has outdoors, in my opinion. It has a nice stage, as you can see there. It backs up into the reservoir lake area, park area, or something. It's just a beautiful space. I was there when it opened, y'all. 3 o'clock that afternoon, and it just smelled like a new brewery smell. It was the owner was there. The beers were crisp and good. And I don't know, some of the beers were a little bit foggy, but I think there was kegs moving around and stuff. Joel, and I they unapologetically contract from Brewfinity, which you're going to visit on
Mhm.
Thursday. Um, I completely enjoyed my time there, and I was there when it opened, like when it literally opened, y'all.
Yeah.
Joel was there like a month or two after that.
Yeah, I was there a little bit later and it was popping because the picture doesn't do it justice. It was packed.
Mhm.
They had live music going on, and I think the fact that it was kind of a crappy weather day made it so that the outdoor space, you can see my picture there, was empty because of it was kind of a drizzly, rainy, not super warm. But they're on the Sugar River that goes through downtown Belleville. Really beautiful. I believe it's an old garage. I'd have to double check my notes. But yeah, the beer there that I liked the most was their stout, the Joe Stout. Yeah, beautiful space. And again, Belleville seems like one of those communities that has a lot of new building going on, a lot of new build homes, a growing community, and that they are, have their own brewery location now, which seems to be getting supported very well. So that's great to see, and wishing them the best as they continue to grow. And so next, I have what I'm calling, I guess, the I-94 corridor. The space between the Milwaukee area and the Madison area. We had two openings. One was technically a new opening for Wisconsin, Voodoo. That is a chain brewery based out of not out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Uh, and this was the first location in Wisconsin. They are located in Delafield, right there in the downtown Delafield area. And Greg, if you recall my messages, I was very pleasantly surprised at how good the beer was. This was much better beer than any chain brewery beer I've ever had.
Mm.
Definitely a step up. My personal favorite was their Berliner Weiss Lacto Cooler, but all the beers across the board were very good. Food is obviously a big component there as well. Nice space. So, I'm sure the folks in Delafield were happy to get their own brewery. Yeah,
Mhm.
I was impressed with that one, more so than I anticipated. And then
Yes.
Brewfinity there in Pewaukee. These are taken off of their Facebook because I have not gotten there yet. Like I said, 2 days, and I will have my own pictures. My pictures will look more like the bottom right. They recently posted a picture about that the view is still great, even if there is snow and ice. But there on the left, you can see that they are across the street from the lake there in downtown Pewaukee. Beautiful venue. I actually had a phone call earlier today with Chad, the owner. They looked at several different municipalities before they ended up here. They looked at Sussex, and they were working the Pewaukee Beer Gardens. They were there for one of the water ski shows, and they actually had multiple people come up to them and tell them that they should be opening up a tap room, in Pewaukee. One conversation led to another, and they ended up, finding a space. They have a 1-barrel pilot system there that they are using for kind of one-off and experimental things.
Oh,
And
I
yeah,
thought it was bigger than that. I
yeah,
thought it was bigger than that. I'm wrong.
yeah, and they
Okay.
do smoked meats there, Greg. I'm going to report back on the smoked meats too. I'm willing to take one for the team. I
I
will I
remember
will
this.
fall on the sword, and I will go and test out the smoked meats. Willing to do that for you, just for you, Greg. I'm going to go try their
That's
smoked meats.
you're
Uh,
such a guy.
I am. But yeah, so I will be there on Thursday. So check the social media platforms for that. And Dodge County adjacent. So these were kind of two. I wasn't sure where to put them. They didn't really fall in a good category. As it turns out, Hartford, and Hoyahapas, is that Wapan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, both those towns
Mm-hmm.
are on the border of Dodge County. Both these breweries are just across the border of Dodge County, but I just
Mm,
put them as Dodge County adjacent then. But anyway,
mm,
I'll do
mm,
my little brew doman thing, and then you take over because you've been to both of these, unlike me.
mm,
Uh,
mm.
but I was there for the big grand opening party of Brewdoman, which included a grand ribbon cutting out on their patio, which overlooks the river there in downtown Hartford. It is a beautiful building. Got to hang out with Kyle and try a lot of the beers. They came out with a lot of big beers. Kyle is hoping on. He is another one we talked about earlier about breweries wanting to do, or Quiet World wanting to have a ton of taps. Brewdoman already has a ton of taps because they were a beer bar for so long,
Mhm.
and he wants to fill them all with Brewdoman beer, and he wants
Mm,
to run the gauntlet basically on styles.
mm,
But he told me his
mm,
favorite
mm, mm,
are the high ABV, the barley wines,
mm.
the barrel aged shots, like all that kind of stuff. But he wants to basically offer some of everything. Um, yeah, it's a cool venue, very intimate kind of venue, and then it opens up, like I said, to that nice outdoor space in back along the river because it's in kind of that lower level basement area of the building. I was a big fan. I really enjoyed the West Coast IPA there. That was quite good. But yeah, really, 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 really neat place there for Hartford to finally get a brewery. And what were your thoughts? Because you were there. Obviously, Brewdoman has been open as a craft beer bar for quite some time. You were there before the brewery officially opened, but you got to hang out with Kyle for a while.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add about Bruto. I mean, you were there after me. It's just a really nice space, and I just again um love Kyle's motivation and drive, and the whole Brewdome crew to keep that going for 5 years to cross that finish line and become a brewery. That was really great. And then Hoya Hop House was my last stop on my road trip, and man, that was a stop. It was a stop. It was wild to have that one be the last one, given that it's just the dynamic of beers. I can't wait till you get to this one, Joel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the it's very amorphic-ish. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like
Mm-hmm.
in that aspect where we're using different grains, we're using different things, we're really crafting here. Not that anybody else isn't. I mean, I think we all have our own different styles. You know what I mean? Like no one's gonna say that Vault 202 or Lyle isn't crafting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it really feels more
Stepping
like
outside the
craft beer
box.
here. Yeah, they're really outside of the box. And that is just a fun place to stop. Main Street Brewery, Joel. You know how we figure about that. A family owned and mostly run brewery. So there's just so many things to like about Hoya Hop. But I do have to get back there because again, it was my last. It was the last. Joel. When you go on 4 days of breweries and that last one, it's just even if it's the best brewery ever, it just has a different impression than if it was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So, but all love and it was just great at Hoya Hop House. Uh, you know, nothing but love there. So
And then you have the one stop that's up north with Bull Falls. I was at Bull Falls way back in the day before, obviously all the ownership changes, but you were able to swing through there during your brief stop in Wausau.
yeah, look, Chris is ready to go to Hoya Hop House. Yeah, it's fun there, Chris. Um, the reboot of Bull Falls, I can tell y'all, is a success. As I was there before, it um before it got rebooted, and this place is just, it's upgraded. I felt it's upgraded in every way, shape, and form, from the beer to the tap house to the location. Well, the location is the same. Sorry, spoiler alert. But the tap room experience was upgraded. It was nice. It was that new modern look. You could see it there. But then the beer was upgraded to, the beer was fresh, the beer was crisp. And it was interesting because it's the same recipes, Joel. So, and if Joel remembers when we were talking about the reboot, about my negative opinion on the previous
Mm-hmm.
Bull Falls, it was not good, and we will keep those terms there. But like, I just didn't like anything about it. I just felt the beers were blah. I felt the place was blah. It was just blah, especially considering Red Eye's up the street, and Red Eye was just popping.
Mm-hmm.
It was popping when I was just there too, but it was popping. So it was popping, and then Bull Falls was just like meh. So Bull Falls is great. Anybody near it, check it out. I and what I mean by great, I mean in context to what it was. They're doing a great job up there, and I just have nothing but good things to say about Bull Falls.
Yeah. Well, and we'll continue plugging along here. That was the end. That was all of our 2025 openings, but we also want to wish a happy birthday / anniversary to all of these
Um,
breweries. Oh, yes.
yeah. Hold on one thing. Chris Drosner said that we're not going to get done by 9 o'clock. So,
I just messaged
um,
him back, so he's fine. He can. I
oh,
said,
you
right,
took
yeah,
you took care of him.
yeah.
Well, whatever. Like, we're gonna get it done. Whatever he says. So, anyway, I'm sorry, Joe. Go.
Chris is getting put on blast, and he's not here to defend himself. But anyway, yeah, happy
Early
birthday,
announcement.
anniversary. All these breweries that are celebrating here in the month of December. You see the OGs, obviously Lakefront, one of the most notable OGs in all of Wisconsin.
Mhm.
You
All
have,
the
some of the
world.
other older ones, Fox River and Titletown. You also have Badger State up there in the Green Bay area. Zimmergy, Earth Rider, one of the more award-winning breweries in the entire state. We actually, Trap Rock, unfortunately, will not be on here next year. But yeah, Amorphic, one of my personal favorites here in Milwaukee. Cool City, the brewery that does flights of every single thing. And Moonridge, this is the second mention of Moonridge after the Ambivalent stuff. So happy birthday to them as well.
Move Ridge is a brewery that has a podcast, y'all. Check it out if you like that.
Yes.
Um, let's see what else jumps off. Shout out to Titletown. I visited them on my road trip. That was fun. Shout out to Badger State and Jen there. Um, they're just great. Let's see who else is here. Amory Airworks is a farm brewery that I need to get to.
Yeah, agreed.
Uh, uh, and yeah, oh, Amorphic. Yeah, that's a good one too. And Cool City with all the flights. I need to get there.
You know that.
Copper Turtle is keeping it clean, y'all. It's on this list. It's the one I know the least about, actually. Um,
Yeah. I've been there
but
once down there in Bayview. I think they obviously have the beer stuff. They do a lot of other like bar, like high end, cocktails and food and bar stuff. But yeah,
that's cool, Joel. All
yeah.
right, Joel. You had a milestone.
Yeah, I'll just run. You told me to put this on here. This was not me. I
Yeah.
don't want people to think that I'm putting this on here out of my own free will. Um,
Okay, so people
but
think that I'm doing it. I forced them to do it.
no,
That's
I did
no,
post this
that's what
earlier on
happened
my
though.
own socials.
That's what happened though.
Today actually was the 1 year anniversary of my book release, Flights Across America: A Brewery Lover's Journey. my book release party at Lakefront, where Chris actually hosted my Q&A, which was a lot of fun. That event was an absolute blast. I have since hosted events in 6 different states, sold books in pretty much, I think, every state around the country. Got to meet lots and lots of people and share my passion. The book is still obviously available for purchase for folks that want to check it out. But yeah, it's crazy. It's already been a year because this book took forever, so long to get across the finish line, and it seems like time has flown by since then. But yeah, I'm grateful for all the opportunities I had with the book. Grateful for all the people that have supported me with the book, including you, Greg. Going with me to the events in Madison. But yeah, onward and upward with more big things to come, I guess you
All
could
right.
say.
Well, yeah, and I don't know. At this point, we're gonna have we have the announcement to make that Joel wanted to maybe do a little bit earlier, but Dutch Beer is
Yes.
returning this year, y'all, and we are extremely happy about that. So Dutch Beer will return to Lager and Friends, as we will. A gathering place. We don't have a date for that yet, but we have confirmation that those 4 great looking guys are gonna get together and make a beer again. And thoughts on this, Joe?
I mean, it was an amazing beer the first time. For folks that didn't get to try it or weren't following, we brewed a Vienna lager with Gathering Place. It was also on tap at Great Taste of the Midwest, as well as their Wauwatosa tap room. This time we have not confirmed the size of the batch, if it'll be the same or if it'll be bigger. Obviously, those details will get worked out further down the line, and we will make sure all of you know that.
It's gonna be bigger.
Yeah, we can. I didn't want to go out and
Not
say
fully
it, but
confirmed, no.
yeah,
I will. I will. I'm
yeah,
gonna Y'all come
but
after me if we lied.
yeah, but yeah, we're very excited about this because it was not. I wouldn't say surprising, but it was a pleasant. We were all pleasantly happy that all 4 of us love this beer. We got a lot of great comments about this beer. We're very excited to be. It's going to be the exact same recipe as pretty much the understanding there.
I hope.
We'll, we're going to be talking about. I know, yeah, there's been the change with brews, but we'll see. But the recipe is going to remain
Right.
the same.
Okay.
We'll have some other collab announcements down the line here, Greg, but this one is going to hold a special place for us because this one knocked it out of the park right from the get-go. It was our first collab together, and the fact that it gets to be at Lager and Friends is just the icing on the cake because we all love Lager and Friends too. So, I mean, I don't know if you have anything else to add besides that, but we're excited about this one.
What Joel said. Really. And we're going to have some more about this in the Mix 6 right after this, y'all. We will talk about the whole process and everything and the beer and all that. So we're just announcing here that we will be doing this next year again. Again, probably on a bigger scale, probably the next recipe, but we don't have any, or the last recipe. The thing that I'm concerned about the recipe, Joel, remember it was that special malt that he used. So I don't know. We don't know if the new brewer is going to want to use this malt, have it around. You know what I mean? There's
we'll have to bully him into it, Greg.
Yeah. There's a whole thing there, but we're just happy that it's returning, and the more that is brewed, the more chances that y'all could try it.
Yes,
and that's why we're excited.
I am crossing my fingers that we can get it in some of the cans at some point. We'll see.
Well, if it gets to be, I'm sorry, Joe, but if it gets to be that big, it will. Joe told me last year that it will hit cans if it gets brewed on the big system.
Yeah. So just keep your eyes on it because I've got folks that would love to get to try it that would not otherwise get to.
And that's exciting, but you have something else exciting.
Yeah, I would argue, something a pretty big announcement that you and I have been working on for a little while here, having several discussions. As we move from 2025 into 2026, we are going to be adding, I would say, some new features to the Badger Brewery Report. And with that is that we will have a Patreon coming up here in January. You will be able to follow us. It will not be necessarily right January 1st, not necessarily, but we will be
Probably more
announcing
like
this.
February 1st.
Yeah, we will be doing a big live show to go over all of this at some point in January, because we have been discussing lots of potential benefits and what we're all going to be offering, because we're kind of taking this to the next step. Greg and I have been talking about this quite a bit. One of the big things that is kind of my baby is a weekly newsletter that would get sent out. You can see, I know it's a little bit small there, especially if you're on your mobile phone. Good luck. But the 4 pages over there, kind of an example of what we would be sharing. It'd be breaking down the latest news, especially since we don't do the live stream every single week. Breaking down the latest news. We'd have Q&As with different brewers and brewery owners. It would include different events, both large scale events as well as smaller events at individual tap rooms that are going on that specific weekend. It would also include beer releases. It would highlight different breweries every week. So a lot of information that would be available coming out every week. We've talked about doing, extended interviews, special interviews, early access to those interviews, different merchandise, doing virtual happy hours, all sorts of, travel guides, Discord, all sorts of stuff. Greg and I are still, combing through the details. We're going to be figuring out the details here kind of over the holidays. But we are very, very excited about this. I think we both feel like we have something here in terms of being able to really highlight and share the wonderful news about our breweries here in Wisconsin and taking it to a next level for people that are also passionate about the craft beer here in the Badger State. So yeah, this will be something that we will discuss, like I said, much deeper details next month. We will do a separate thing because we will still do a regular Badger Brewery Report, because there's going to be lots of news with all the openings hopefully coming up here in early 2026. But our plan is that we will do a separate show here to kind of go over all of this when the time comes. But yeah, Greg, passing off to you here, because obviously I know that you are, looking forward to all this too. This is, a big step.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun. I just love the more access that we will be given.
Yes.
Especially on like the Discord should be pretty fun, Joel. Like, because you and I, we hear a lot of things. So some of these things we could put out
We're
as
already talking
rumors.
every day. We're already talking every day, Greg.
Not right, but like, even like these things that we hear just
Mhm.
by, all that, and being able to share those things, and because some of those rumors sometimes become true. And we have that one out there about Milwaukee. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
There's just these things, and so having all that and just being able to um give y'all more access to us, I think is fun, and to be able to give out more content in a way is fun. And also being able to pay the bills is fun too, Joe.
That's what I heard. Yeah. That's what I
Right.
heard.
So
That's what I heard. Yeah. My wife mentioned that to me.
yeah.
So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. So with that being said, we're excited about this. There'll be more in January about this.
Yes.
And Joel, without further ado, um we can
Uh,
get out of here, right? So we
hey,
can.
Chris. Hey, Chris, if you're still watching, I think it's 8:54.
Mm.
Yeah. So I can actually just sit here for 6 more minutes. So
Right.
all right. Hey, Liz, we're going to be, everyone stay tuned. Make sure to hop back in for the Mix Six. I'll see if I pop in, but otherwise Greg will still be here. Chelsea will be here. I believe Chris will be here. At least I would assume he is, since he's bugging us about being done at 9. So
I know,
yeah,
right?
I know.
Can't
Yeah.
wait to get on.
But I am
Mhm.
looking forward. I'm very excited for 2026, all that we are going to be doing. So yeah. So yeah, we're just really great. We're so excited about 2026 and what we're going to be able to provide for all of you beer lovers that are currently watching. But yeah, as always, whether it is where you are visiting or where you are living, be sure to drink local everywhere. Cheers, everybody.